So when we're looking at the quarterback class, right?
Yep.
It could be a historic one. You got, like I said, Drake May, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy, Jaden Daniels, Penix, Spencer Rattler, to name a few. What do you think this potential class, in as far as potential goes, and as far as going down to being one of the best, what do you think this team, this particular draft class, may rank when it's all said and done as being one of the top tier classes of the whole entire NFL?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this quarterback class will rank up there with the quarterback class of 1983 as
Mm.
far as
Wow,
yeah,
that is saying a lot.
yeah. Now, we may not have as many first round quarterbacks, but I think when you look at the quarterback pool,
Mhm.
you will have successful quarterbacks. And I think this is aided by players getting extra years based off the COVID year.
True.
So now you've had what it's been talked about. You've had players able to spend more time in the NFL, I mean, in college,
Right.
refining their game. They
Mhm.
played a lot of football.
Yeah,
So even though they may be older, they're also walking in with more experience, ready to immediately contribute
that's a good point.
on the NFL team. So
Mm.
when we look at Caleb, when we look at Jaden Daniels,
Mhm.
right? Just those two alone, I think, are right up there with the Elway Dan Marino situation, right? As transcendent quarterbacks.
That class had John Elway, Todd Blackledge, Jim Kelly, Tony Eason, Ken O'Brien, and Dan Marino.
Yep. And I think across the board, when you look at Caleb, Jaden, Penix, JJ, and then again, Bo Nix has had a lot of football
Hmm?
played. Spencer Rattler was coming out of high school. They thought he was the second coming of the greatest quarterbacks ever. Unfortunately, he had Caleb sitting behind him at Oklahoma. He had some bumps in the road at South Carolina that I'm going to say humbled him
Mhm.
because he is some of the reports of Spencer was he had the big head, right? So
Right.
but I think with him, and then I think there's going to be some quarterbacks that become serviceable quarterbacks that we're not even talking about. But just looking at this image, I'm saying Caleb, I'm saying Jaden, I'm saying JJ, I'm saying Penix are going to be high quality starters. I think Bo, depending on the team that he goes to,
Mhm.
because of how much football he's played, is going to be there. I think the only quarterback that gives me meh is May, right? But outside of that, I put this quarterback class. I'm predicting this quarterback class when we look back in 3 years is going to be right up there with that 1983 class.
Okay. Okay. I mean, of course, we based upon the potential. We don't know exactly what's going to pan out, and again, it also all matters based upon the fact of where they land.
Right.
What situation they land in, and who they stick with in their career would determine how well they do. But for me, I would definitely put money on Caleb, Jaden, and Penix doing well. Again, JJ, depending on the situation, as well as Bo. Like I said, I still got questions about Drake May and his leadership skills and his ability to win ball games and just being a guy. To be honest with you, what he kind of is not. It's not the same level,
Right.
but I feel like the same character issues that Zach Wilson had in the draft. I feel like Drake May might have the same thing.
Okay.
And I think that he's kind of weird and quirky. He don't really, he's not the locker room guy like some people
Right.
are. And like again, people look. You going back to the greatest of all time, Tom Brady, looking
Yep.
at him and saying that, hey, we know there's no matter who you are and where you are in life, you can always go to Tom Brady and he will be one of the guys.
Right.
I don't know if Drake May is going to be one of the guys like that. Like I
Gotcha.
think that I don't have no questions about Penix and Jaden and Caleb and those guys being I guess you can say warming up the guys in the locker room or giving guys warm and fuzzy, but
Right.
it just seems he seems a little bit off to me. There's something different there with his character. It kind of gives me pause. So it might be, I could be completely wrong. I could be, but it depends on where he goes. But I feel like that the oddity in this particular dynamic is Drake May for me. It's upon
Yep.
his college career. So, I mean, yeah, but I mean, if talent level speaks to the idea of this, if they all, even if you hit from a what's this, 4, 5, 7. If you hit 4 out of 7, that might be the greatest of all time. Because I mean, I look at the list. I mean, because you look at the list of all time, they got the 83 class being the best of all time. And the 3 names you have in this list are Elway, Marino, and Kelly. And 2 of those 3 quarterbacks never won a Super Bowl.
True.
Think about like this: the greatest football class of all time, Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, Ken O'Brien, John Elway. Only one of those quarterbacks in that note won a Super Bowl. That's John Elway.
That is true.
Then it gets to the 05-04 class. We got Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, and Matt Schaub. Only 2 of those quarterbacks have won Super Bowls.
Right.
Then you get to the I guess I'm gonna fast forward a little bit and get to the number 5, where the 05 class, Aaron Rodgers, Alex Smith, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Matt Castle, Jason Campbell, Kyle Orton, and Derek Anderson. Only one of those quarterbacks won a Super Bowl. So yeah, I mean, if you get 2 Super Bowls and some Hall of Fames out of this one, that might be the best of all time. It depends on how you look at 20 years down the line, but we definitely it could go down as one of the best classes of all time. It could.
Right.
It could.